you start the shot, okay, first of all, the last thing to move is the sword. The perfect shot creates a vacuum of motion that draws the blade into the target. You don't push anything. Everything is pulled. You are going through a motion that creates a kinetic opportunity for the mass to flow to the target. So when you're standing in your ready state, the perfect snap state, from here, I now have all the tools I need to there. Either there, right? All that stuff. I'm not situational. I'm universal. Okay? So that's not to say, again, it's just like the chess move or the poker hand. There are situational modifications to everything I'm saying. There's a counter to every move. This is all about the perfect snap, from which you can modify it, right? As you see that. Okay. So open high, so that when my hips start to move, which is the first motion of the snap, they're not, unlike Paul's powering with his hips. I'm actually opening the motion so that I can power with the upper body. I don't think you need the hips. Actually, if you swing it sort of Paul does, you need everything. But I'm all about velocity. I gave a class here 25 years ago, and Arthur was one of the young hot sticks. And he had a sword that was about that long, and it was really light. And he did everything that I didn't, right? In my whole class, I'm realizing, because I'd seen him fight, I'm realizing this, you are not hearing, right? There's no way what I'm saying actually makes sense to you. Because what he had was tip velocity. He was super, super fast. And all the stuff that I talked about didn't matter to him, right? Because he had this tip down, took the torgal style to the extreme, right? Came forward like this, and right from here would just go pop, and he didn't need all that stuff, right? Because he had that super, super tip velocity. That was his plus, right? That was his overwhelming positive consideration. All the negative stuff comes when you get older, you're slower, something breaks, or your opponent is just that much better than you and says, once I shut that angle there, you're screwed, right? Now, you're good enough at it that it takes somebody really, really figuring it out and dedicating themselves to that defensive consideration to shut you down. But, ultimately, you want a style that doesn't give your opponent an opportunity to figure you out. So, you don't need a lot of mass. You can have a relatively light sword. You can still do everything I'm talking about. You want to be able to get tip velocity that isn't at the expense of options. So, for example, a forward style, you can get a bunch of tip velocity, but that bullwhip moment, that impulse, dictates that it goes through a certain path, right? You're not going to get tip velocity here, right? That's a whole different dynamic of the motion, and it delivers a whole different impact. You want to be in a position so that from here, you're going to hit any target you want, and one of the reasons it's going to work is because you're going to have been able to deliver significant velocity before that moment of weakness. So high and back. The hips start to move. I want you to see this ball, by the way. I want my opponent to see it. I want my opponent to know this is the shot. William the Lucky. Some of you remember William the Lucky. William the Lucky, he fought about as fast, I don't know, he was slow. William was not a fast fighter. But he was was very successful. He was very successful swordsman, tournament swordsman. And I'll never forget, at a Western Crown, William fought some guy, won the fight. The guy came off and said, "Man, that guy's so fast." I'm like, "What? Are we talking about Win the Lucky guy you just fought?" He says, "Yeah, I didn't even see that sword move." And that was like, bing, a little light bulb moment for me. It doesn't matter how fast you are. It matters how fast you appear to your opponent. Right? So, speed. A lot of people give up good technique. They sacrifice good technique on the altar of speed. And the reason they do that is that they're trying to fool themselves. Right? I want my sword to hit you in the head as fast as possible. And so I'm going to push the sword so that it moves or anything else moves. But I know that if anything else moves, if I give that up, you're going to see it. And it's going to slow my shot down. So you're actually trying to beat yourself. You're trying to fool yourself. Fool your opponent. Don't fool yourself. When we're doing a speed game, right, one of the reasons that I was faster is because I shut down all the stuff.
Cues weren't there at the night.
Right, exactly.
I think I actually was a couple times.
Right.
Come to think of it, you were just like.
And that's what, and now if and we'll play this game later on. If I wanted to fool you, I would have shown you something, right? And it still would have hit, right? It still would have been that fast. We're not any slower when we show somebody something. But what we're doing is we're flooding their defensive considerations. We are getting faster in their mind because we're giving them more to think about. So don't worry about your speed. Worry about your technique, right? Speed will come. It's all about fooling your opponent, right? Appearing fast, not really being fast, appearing fast. So the reason I say that is that a lot of people here move your hips, pull your shoulder form through that transition, draw the sword. The last thing that moves is the sword, and think, boy, my opponent's going to see that coming a mile away. That's okay. You want them to see it coming because you want them to wonder, where's that going? You really want my opponent to just not know where they're supposed to block. And the sweetest thing in the world, I think real technique, real skill, what I try to do when I'm really thinking about it, is I want to kill you as slow as I can. Seriously, I want to take your leg like I came from Ada, right? Hear that shot. Here it comes, here it comes. Here it comes, here it comes, here it comes. And you're like, block, 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 boom. Like, damn. Because if you can do that, the fast stuff's easy. So give yourself every opportunity to use as much of your body to make that shot perfect. Don't worry about the speed. Don't try to fool yourself. Tell your opponent, here comes the shot, and throw it perfectly. You do that enough, you're going to start to learn clues about yourself, how to throw better and better and better and better. So you get to the point where you really feel like you own that stroke. You really feel like you're getting a little hook somewhere to the perfect snap. So open, high. First thing that moves is your hips. The reason the hips move is to clear this rotation to come through this part of the transition from ready state to active. Okay? So when the hips move, it's not powering. What it's doing is it's giving me room to pull my body, my upper body, through that motion.
That's the vacuum.
Yeah, that's the vacuum, exactly. So I want, when we're fighting, and I start to throw that shot, right? I want to see what you do. You're telling me how to kill you, right? So